Every world in Dungeons & Dragons has its own unique aspects. Eberron, Dragonlance, Exandria, the Forgotten Realms, all unique in their own ways. So what is it that sets Theros apart from all of these other universes? Simply put, the unique metaphysical property of Theros is that everything believed and dreamed eventually becomes real. The collective unconsciousness of mortals has the literal power of creation. Though this process takes place over the course of several centuries, and thus the gods of Theros and their servants were believed, dreamed, and narrated into existence, becoming real just as a result of their mortal belief. And as these stories were told and sacrifices made generation after generation, the gods formed and gained lives just as real as the mortals who dreamed them into existence. Though this does not mean that the gods of Theros are less powerful nor divine as the gods of other worlds and universes. For once a dream in Theros becomes real, it becomes just as real as anything else. And the gods have been real for a very, very long time. It is not within the power of a single individual to make the gods less real or change their nature. A mortal may not just disbelieve a god's wrath out of existence, or turn it into kindness. It is the collective unconscious of every sapient being on Theros that shapes reality. And any changes made occur on the scale of ages, not moments. More practically, the gods of Theros are no less powerful than the gods of other worlds. However, these gods only have influence over Theros and the two planes connected to it. Nyx, the starry realm of the gods, and the underworld, the eventual home of all who die. Theros' primary conflict is among the gods, striving against each other over the devotion of mortals. The more mortal devotion a god has, the more divine power they possess. This devotion is seen when people pray fervently to a god, when they piously observe the god's rites and sacrifices, and when they devoutly trust in the god's divine might. In doing all of this, the god becomes more powerful. The competition for mortal devotion, though, is not necessarily an all-or-nothing game. The mortals of Theros do not necessarily believe in one particular god to the exclusion of the others, and those most pious pray to every god with equal fervor. That being said, a deity's goal is to increase the number of worshippers who, when faced with peril, will then call on that god for help. It is that level of trust that gives the gods their power, not merely the ideas and concepts. To this end, mortal beings, heroes and monsters alike, often become unwitting pawns in the contests between the gods. Having a powerful champion is a typical indication of a god's power, and can potentially increase their power. A champion who acts as a god's agent among other people helps increase those people's devotion to the god. And if this champion happens to strike down the champion of another god, all the better. There are two concepts with a large presence in the way mortals think about their place in the world. They are fate and destiny. Fate is the idea that the course of each mortal's life is predetermined, personified as spun out in a tapestry woven by a trio of semi-divine women known as the Fates. Gods, however, are not bound by the strands of fate, their lives and legends constantly changing and forever uncertain. For mortals, though, it is assumed that they plod along their predetermined path from beginning to all the way to the end, carrying out every task appointed to them until they complete their journey to the underworld. This bleak view of existence is undermined by the heroic ideal exemplified in myth, legend, and the lived experience of Theros' people. By definition, heroes are people who defy the predetermined course of fate. Heroes take fate into their own hands and chart their own courses, treading boldly into the unknown, striking down supposedly invincible foes and resisting the wills of the gods. This proud defiance of fate is rewarded when they at last complete their mortal journeys. These worthy heroes spend their afterlives in Elysia, the fairest realm of the underworld, where they finally rest from the struggles of their lives, and in many cases their stories live on, being told from generation to generation. Destiny is different. The strands of destiny are spun from the hair of the ancient god Clothis, but they do not show a predetermined future. Destiny establishes the order of things, the hierarchy of being. Gods and mortals alike are constrained by the threads of destiny. Mortals can do almost nothing to alter them, but more than once the arrogance and presumption of the gods have caused the strands of destiny to become tangled. Clothis enforces the bounds of destiny. She isn't only the spinner of destiny strands, but also an avenging fury, punishing the foolhardy gods who tangle them. The champions of the gods are some of the most influential and inspirational figures in Theros. These mortals have personal relationships with the gods, potentially serving as divine agents in the world or being compelled to action by immortal schemes. Others were born with the gods' eyes set upon them, whether from their remarkable abilities or circumstances of their birth. Through their lives, champions experience the blessings and curses of their divine relationships. Some might harness incredible power granted to them by the gods, others might discover how fickle the gods can be. How each champion contends with the whims of their patron defines what makes them a hero. Whether they seek incredible ways to court favor or forge a path that throws them off the bonds of destiny. Regardless of this course, the deeds of champions influence belief in the gods. But even more, they fill the hearts of Theros' people with hope and wonder. More than just the deeds, heroes fill an important role among the inhabitants of Theros. Legendary heroes form a vast collection of well-known archetypes whose deeds create cultural touchstones and shape modern philosophies. More so, these legendary heroes embody the potential of mortals to be more than just pawns of fate. Tales of heroes teach that greatness is achievable and that there is more to the world than any one individual knows. Theros' people see this truth in the power of the gods themselves and in the immortal constellations that fill the night sky. Even as the names of each of these heroes might eventually die, their deeds live on as heroic archetypes, such as in the case of the nameless champion and in the renowned epic The Theryad. These archetypes teach and inspire, whether they're represented in tales of journey or creation, in sculptures rising above palace roofs, or in the temples of the gods. Throughout Theros, those who seek greatness typically begin by deciding what archetype they most closely align with and letting their ideal influence their fate. In fact, the heroes you have seen throughout this video are examples of the heroic archetypes. There is the General, the Protector, the Vanquisher, the Hunter, the Provider, the Warrior, the Slayer, and the Philosopher. And others like these are idealized figures who appear in narrative and theatrical drama, sometimes with their names attached and others without. Such as the tale of the Slayer destroying a Hydra, and a mighty Cyclops, and a dragon, and a Nyxborn giant, and a Lamia, and any other number of creatures. But of course, one Slayer did not do all of that. Instead, it was a simple archetype that has become the repository for legends about many different heroes, all of whom are primarily notable for slaying something. The heroes you create might aspire to emulate one of the great heroic archetypes, or they might strive to forge an entirely new mythic identity, to be remembered by name in tales of glory forever. So with everything said and done, where do you stand? Or by extension, where does your champion stand? Does your champion follow one of the archetypes laid out before you, or do you want to attempt to forge your own fate? Let me know in the comments. I'm very curious to see what you guys have all created. But regardless, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this format of lore video, be sure to leave this video a like. I would appreciate it very much. If there's something you would like me to change or anything else you would like to see, please leave it in the comment down below. Now that the review series of Theros is over, I need more content for the channel, so let me know what you guys want to see. But until next time, guys, have fun, stay safe, and as always, happy gaming.